Good afternoon. I'm Lisa Broom with the CBC News Break. Reports of a huge cane fire burning now in Allendale, St. Lucie has residents there on edge. One of them called CBC this morning just after 8 when the blaze broke out, painting a picture of the situation there. The caller said the road was left impassable by thick smoke, which virtually decreased visibility to zero as acres of cane continued to burn. At that time, water trucks from the Barbados Agricultural Management Company were on the scene responding to the fire. 2 tenders, one from the Western St. James Station and the other from the Probin Street headquarters, responded with about 8 fire officers under the command of Acting Deputy Chief Fire Officer Lloydson Phillips and Station Officer Denton Foster. According to reports from headquarters, while the fire has got even bigger, no homes are in danger. We'll bring you more details as they come to hand. Well, good news for residents living in and around Vaucluse this morning. People downwind of that huge tire fire at the mangrove landfill yesterday should have nothing to worry about as far as dangerous fumes and smoke are concerned. That's the word coming from the Acting Deputy Chief Fire Officer Lloydson Phillips, who spoke to CBC News this morning. He says the fire was extinguished about 8:15 last night and that fire officials were able to contain those dangerous gases being emitted.
It didn't impact on the residents as such, right? So no one was actually taken to the accident or emergency department, no, the shelters that were open, so everything went well.
And as you just heard, 2 shelters, Lester Vaughan Secondary School and Sharon Primary, were open for people who may have been affected by the fire. Chief Environmental Health Officer Tyrone Applewhite says all day yesterday, the thick black smoke was billowing high into the air due to strong winds. The main concern at that time, according to him, was the extended period of time people would have been exposed to the smoke.
The last mission found that people did recognize that there is some material in the atmosphere. However, it is not on a persistent level. It is every now and again. So we're happy that they are saying that, and they're also telling us that things are not as bad, as we think they should be.
A Barbados Defence Force soldier is at this hour facing a court-martial at St. Anne's Fort. Private Timothy Bancroft has been charged with stealing property, escaping custody and disobeying standing orders. According to BDF Public Relations Officer Captain Maria Moore, Private Bancroft's charges relate to the theft of government property. The hearing got underway at 11 o'clock and is open to the public. Well, taxpayers have until 4 this evening and tomorrow between 8:30 and 4 to seek help if they're still having problems filing their income tax returns. With the April 30th deadline 24 hours away, the Inland Revenue Department has set up an additional customer service center at the Weymouth Corporate Center, Roebuck Street, St. Michael. The facility has been set up to assist taxpayers with any challenges they're having with filing online, for example, password changes and other income tax queries. Local historian Trevor Marshall wants more done to educate children about the people making up the list of national heroes. He made the call yesterday during an interview with CBC as Barbados celebrated National Heroes Day.
I think the children don't know enough about them. Children are now asking who was Errol Barrow, and even more so, they're asking who was Grant Lee Adams. So there is need for us to do more work to tell the children these are the persons without whose work and without whose personalities Barbados would not have traveled the road of security, and safety, and peacefulness. And it would not have arrived at the point that we have arrived at without a lot of revolution and war and uprisings and disruption of the calmness of the society.
The Labour Department is taking its safety and health at the workplace message specifically regarding chemicals to primary school students across Barbados. It's part of efforts to mark World Day for Safety and Health at Work, officially observed yesterday across the globe. This morning it was the turn of Wesley Hall boys and girls to hear how best to protect themselves and others from everyday chemicals which can pose a threat to their safety and health. Acting senior officer at the Labor Department, Alison Elcock, told the media they used a skit to highlight their concerns.
Essentially what we want to convey to persons is that chemicals should be treated carefully at all times. You shouldn't reuse them into bottles that are not properly labeled. You should be used in well-ventilated spaces. Those are the sort of things. So we want to educate the children so they can take home the message, as well as to get them thinking about safety from an early age so that they can take that into their adult life.
The Labour officer also expressed concern about accidents involving chemicals at home.
We are trying to reach out to the use of chemicals in the home because there are a lot of accidents that can happen in the home. I mean, when you think about how you use chemicals at home, you don't really think about it as, you're just using a little bit of Clorox, you're just using a little bit of toilet cleaner or something like that. But you don't consider that it's actually a dangerous chemical that you're using.
The Ministry of Health in St. Vincent and the Grenadines says it is still awaiting results from the Trinidad-based Caribbean Public Health Agency, or CARPHA, to determine whether there are more confirmed cases of the mosquito-borne virus chikungunya disease in the country. Health Minister Clayton Bergin last week declared an outbreak after informing the nation that there were 3 confirmed cases of the disease in the Grenadine island of Bequia. And since then, at least 14 samples, also from people in Bequia, were sent to CARPHA for testing. Still in St. Vincent, the Central Water and Sewage Authority has introduced water rationing in one section of the island as a severe drought continues to affect the country. The utility company has warned that it may be forced to expand its rationing exercise to the entire island if the present weather conditions continue. The authority said the continued lack of rainfall has resulted in a further decrease in the inflow from the rivers at its Dalloway, Majorca and Montreal intakes. Over in Trinidad, a 40-year-old police officer will return to court on May 2nd to answer a total of 100 charges of allegedly defrauding the police service of nearly 400,000 TT dollars. Female officer Elizabeth Hope, a 10-year veteran, was released on 350,000 TT dollars bail when she appeared before a Port of Spain court yesterday. She was not called on to plead to the charges that were laid indictably. The police alleged that Officer Hope, between 2010 and March last year, with the help of another woman, Sharice Austin, who is also before the court, allegedly tendered false bills and receipts of medical services done with an official stamp from a doctor. Hope also billed the police service for medication she allegedly received while she was supposedly undergoing treatment for cancer. In international news, Western powers are putting fresh pressure on Moscow to back down in eastern Ukraine. The European Union has added 15 names to its sanctions list. They include top-ranking Russian officials and pro-Russian separatists. This follows sanctions imposed by the U.S. yesterday on 7 Russian officials and 17 companies linked to President Vladimir Putin. Today, Russia accused the EU of doing Washington's bidding.